You're listening to PDR Tool Talk, all about PDR stories, tools, and techniques.
For the thousands in attendance, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the next edition of PDR Tool Time, the only podcast you should be listening to about dent tools. We have our host, John Hiley, Mike Toledo, and the big man, Daniel Grom. How you guys doing today?
We're doing good. Good, man.
Woohoo! Yeah.
So,
Hey guys,
what's crack-a-lackin'?
What's the word out there? What's going on? What's crack-a-lackin', Mike Toledo?
Man, this June gloom is killing me, man. So, yeah, May Gray in Cali?
May Gray.
Man, it's bad.
it's been a tough month for you because it's been kind of a downer for me. I've had great months leading up to this, and then all of a sudden it just like flatlined on me. How about you guys?
It was like that last week, and then this week has just been balls to the walls, man. After the holiday, people decided let's get their cars fixed. Let me get my car fixed.
Yeah, it has picked up this week for me after the holiday, but up to that it was like flat.
Yeah, same here. I think a lot of people, their graduation and stuff like that, they're spending money elsewhere for retail.
Yeah, for me, it's just been absolute insanity. But of course, I'm combining training with shipping things out, and then also as far as booking appointments for dent removal, I'm booking them at the end of July currently. And we got a hail car sitting here, did a big old dent on a police car today. And I did not drive it down to the ghetto and chase people around. I told myself I was not going to do that.
I know. I get tempted every time I get a police car to just get in it. Go to
just
lunch,
go down to inner city Dayton and just stomp the gas after people, and just...
Right? I had such the urge for that.
Well,
when we're driving police cars around here, they have to put a thing over the rollers. It says out of service, which kind of
there's a little sign in the back that says out of service. But...
Oh, not mine, not my area, dude. Actually, stopped. I was driving a police. We used to deliver them over here to the city of Bellbrook, and I would drive them back. And I stopped in a Speedway to get a drink, and literally a dude asked me. He goes, "Hey, man, you undercover?" Yeah, asshole. I'm driving around in a marked police car and I'm undercover.
Yeah, okay. They're like, yeah, okay, buddy. Sure.
That's funny.
That's a Speedway employee for you.
So what do we got in old news here there, Vincey?
Old news. Well, I hope you guys all tuned in to our last podcast where the four of us were together talking about worst customers that we've had. It was pretty entertaining show. I listened to it today. I was laughing my butt off through the majority of it.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah. And then moving forward, who's our special guest today?
Mike, you want to introduce our special guest?
Nah, I don't want to introduce him, dude. He can introduce
I actually used to call him now, David, didn't I used to call you Whitney?
Whitney.
That
was it.
So, guys, if you haven't guessed, we have David White.
David White, yes. David White. Hey, David, welcome here, dude.
Welcome, David.
Thanks for coming on, David. All right, now it's official.
There you go.
Me and Vince are too lazy for them fancy sounds. Me and Vince just try to duplicate them.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you guys don't know who David is, most of us know David from being online. And Dave, you're not afraid to speak your mind. And that's what I love about you.
Here we go.
Yeah. That's why we all like you.
But you do it elegantly.
Yeah.
That's the difference. Somebody that speaks their minds and is just a jerk is one thing, but you do it with elegance.
Hey, don't be talking about me like that, Daniel.
Speak your mind. You don't want to piss people off, but you may still want to do it.
Yeah,
exactly.
In other words, don't burn bridges. So what you guys, can you bring up anything that, because I don't want to ask David, but I'm going to bring you, if you guys remember anything that David was, what are you doing, Vince? You can just tell me. What is it?
Go back.
Go back.
Who is David White for our listeners, for the ones that don't know David?
Yeah, let him get a chance to tell us like where he started, when he started, and how he started.
Let's go back to the Wayback Machine.
Not back to when you were swimming as a little baby swimming. Not that far back, but maybe
Not that far back.
right when you started doing dent removal.
So when did you start doing PDR?
Started back in February of 1997.
Very nice.
Was hired. I'm sure I probably wasn't hired much different than Vince. With Dent Wizard, have been with Dent Wizard since. I should say since. I mean, I left temporarily. I think most wizards that are still with the company 20 years later have left at one point or another and decided that, we'd like it back here, or didn't want a lawsuit or whatever the case may be. But it started back in 97. It replied to an ad in the paper, which I had no idea what it was for. Started working. My father owned a restoration shop, so I was, growing up in a body shop. Took to this ad, was in a nowhere job, doing nothing, living at home, and I was 22 years old, I think, 23, and the job took me to St. Louis. My mom was like, you sure about this? You sure about this? And I'm like, got nothing to lose. So 20 years later, still pushing dents. Never looked back.
Now, where are you located, David?
I'm in Northeast Connecticut.
Okay, and so Connecticut back in 97, was that corporate owned or was that a franchise at the time?
That was franchise. Connecticut Dent. It was done. Let's see. Jim Sieverts and Jeff Enderly owned it back then.
Gotcha. And then, so you were there for the transition where a corporate Dent Wizard came back and bought the franchise. And was that when you took your hiatus, or is that what led to your hiatus?
No, it definitely had its share of input with Mannheim coming in and taking over and buying everybody back. It was not a fun transition. They were not great years. So yeah, I mean, there was a little bit of that. There were some personal issues that just happened that just caused me I needed to break off and just have where you get your own little peace of mind, a couple of us have probably seen that. So
absolutely.
Well, it's nice to know that you're employable, David, because I was telling somebody the other day, I was like, I'm not employable. And not to mention, I wouldn't want to work for myself. If I worked for myself, I'd freaking fire myself. I would start a mutiny, and I would probably have a shop across the street from my own shop, and it would be like the Hatfields and McCoys. Right. I applaud anybody that's employable.
Right.
No doubt. No. You know what it is? I like the job. I like what I do.
Yeah.
And that's always the biggest thing is once you find, I like fixing dents. I don't necessarily like all the customers or the people or having to answer the phone. But at the end of the day, I mean, most people hate getting up on Monday morning and going to work. I don't have any problem getting out of bed and going to work because I like what I do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Now give listeners a peek of what kind of dent tech you are. So are you a route guy? What's your MO?
I am the biggest hack you will ever. No, just kidding. I'm a route guy. I service a southern Connecticut area, and my closest competitor is, I'm going to give him the shout out, is Danny Espinal. We fight over the same turf, and I say
love
fight
Danny.
very loosely.
Yeah,
so,
Danny's a good dude.
Danny's good dude. We need to interview him someday.
We do need to get his butt on here.
I have a love affair with Danny.
So let me I'll backstory that a little bit. Danny's older brother is Andre Espinal, who I started with 20 years ago in that Danbury area because he was covering the lower half of southern Connecticut. So I used to go down and help him out. And then lo and behold, almost 10 years later, Andre has come and gone a few times, moved all over the damn place. And Danny's the guy trying to run that retail market down there. And it's all his. I don't care. I'm a route guy, and we don't really step on each other's toes. If he's out and about, we definitely work. We work well with each other. Let's put it that way.
Nice. That's good. That's what it should be. You don't need to be enemies with your competition. In fact, I would encourage you guys to make friends with their competition.
And you guys are two like really handsome fellas from Connecticut. It's like you guys should be supermodels out there working for GQ, not DW.
Oh, we get 6 months off of the sun, so.
If you're if you guys are a new listener, Vince is smoking the pole.
Yeah.
So I just want to let you know.
Well, I have to say that Danny does have a little Rico Suave going on there.
Yeah, he's got that Dominican blood. He stays. Yeah. He's well over.
Viva loca.
Oh, he's well over. Exactly. He's well over 40 years old, and he looks like he's 25 still. So,
Is he really
guys,
that old?
Yeah.
There was nothing more living the Viva Loca.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how could you say anything more compelling than that? Was there a better hook? Really?
Yeah.
Hey, okay, let's get straight to the point because you guys know me. I don't like to wait around a lot of time. The reason why we brought you in here, dude, is because you literally, as we mentioned earlier, you speak your mind about a lot of things. What is your take right now these days about where PDR is going? Do you feel better about it, or you feel concerned, or a little bit of both? What's going on, David? What's going on with your mind?
I'll be honest with you, it's a little bit of both. I mean, I guess if you get sucked into the Dent World drama on Facebook too, you get a little bit of, everything seems to be all hunky dory and everything's going along just fine, and the next thing you know, there's a shitstorm brewing.
Yeah,
and you just for no reason. And so I say no reason. I mean, there's a couple that have had some reason, and there's, you watch things happen that, everybody's supposed to be pushing everybody along and everybody's helping the industry. And next thing you know, you got somebody throwing more than one person under the bus. But, I don't know. It started off all everybody's in this together to this is my territory and get out.
Yeah.
It's seasonal, I guess. Tool wise, forget the people. This is a tool show. Let's talk tools.
Yeah, that's
the tool part of it has been phenomenal. I think it was probably 4 years ago, 5 years ago, maybe, before I really even saw the LED Limited from James Lee. And it wasn't from, a couple of ex-wizards that were like, dude, if you don't have one of these, why not? Because I work in a bubble and, the Facebook stuff was just starting to get popular and just starting to find my way onto that stuff. And I just went to work every day and did my job. But watching the tool development over the last few years has just been absolutely insane.
It's an explosion.
It is. And I think some of the stuff is, I sit back and have a beer with a few friends and we look at some of the stuff, or somebody will buy new tools and we have to get together. Like there's 2 or 3 of us that just have to get together and see what we got so we can decide yay or nay on it.
Wait, David, you guys. Go ahead, David. I'm sorry, I thought you were done.
You sit there and look at some of this stuff and you go, "Wow, this is so awesome! How come we didn't think of this 15 years ago?"
Can I ask you a question? You guys came in full force a couple of years ago. What reason was that? Were you part of that that congregation that came, and it's like it was like Dent Wizard Festival there? Half Dent Wizard people were there, and so what brought that about?
We have what's called a Summit Council for PDR techs. We felt that we were lagging, especially after seeing the explosion of tools and the training. I mean, watching what guys were doing online, and we have guys that are doing it, but they're doing it quietly in their own little cave corner that nobody knows about. We still have fantastic techs that are not internet savvy, don't care about social media, and are just slaving away doing what they do, and they love it. So Garrett Reed, myself, Kyle Violet, we all kind of got involved and started pushing corporate that we needed to do a little bit more. And, it was a tool and training group. And we said, hey, look, if we're going to do this, let's do this at the place where everything is happening. Let's go see it all firsthand, not in a catalog, not in an online database. Let's have it in our hands so we can talk about it, share it, hold it, in some cases, try it. So that kind of started pushing the envelope to get to, MTE. The first year was a pretty good showing. went down there. I can't tell you. I mean, I know there was 8 guys selected to be there. There was probably another dozen and a half, maybe 2 dozen that showed up that go on their own. Last year, this past MTE was just insane. Another 8 invited. And I think we had standing room only because we opened up the doors to anybody that was Dent Wizard to come in and share their thoughts. So it was pretty tremendous to see the guys that showed up on their own dime.
Yeah.
And it really showed corporate.
What do you think it is that Dent Wizard wouldn't want to open that up to techs and bring them in? Are they afraid of they're going to lose guys?
In all honesty, I don't think anybody that was in that head office had ever been in there. We just have the hail support team that shows up down there to recruit for hail season, I think.
Yeah.
That's all that's ever been there.
Yeah.
We've had local guys that show up and they go in there and buy tools and they talk about how great it is. La-di-da. Quite honestly, in years past, I mean, I have heard people come back from that and say they would never go again because everybody was a DICK. I'm better than you. I make more money than you. I'm faster than you. My quality's better than you. It was just, it was a rooster show.
I've heard of that years ago, but it's interesting that Dent Wizard is actually catching on to the point that, like, look, if we don't stay up with the times, our technicians are going to be at a disadvantage because now we're at the level where tools are making such a difference in our industry that literally if you lag behind and you got a box of 20-year-old tools, that somebody might be able to roll up with something that's a game changer. And not only will you lag behind, but the quality could be lag behind. If today, let's just take an extreme example. If today you're using a ball tip and tape and you never got on with soft tips or you never got on with glue pulling, you know what I mean? You're always going to be a step behind.
You're so right, John. You're so right on there. I mean, guys that don't go to MTE, don't put out the effort, you're killing yourself. You're going to make more money, I guarantee, whether it's through your tool knowledge, through your estimating knowledge, through all the symposiums that are there. I mean, there's so much information that's exchanged there. You're hurting yourself. You're hurting your business. You're not serious about being a good dent tech.
Well, what I love is the independent technicians out there that are just swallowing up every bit of knowledge they can possibly get their hands on. See, that's the problem. If you can treat it like a job, or you can immerse yourself. That's a big problem if you just dabble in something. See, a lot of people dabble. We got a lot of dabblers out there. And the biggest problem with that is if you just dabble, you're going to run across the dude who's immersing himself in the vast amount of knowledge that's now flowing in our industry, the knowledge on tools, the knowledge that we're delivering now. And that person who is immersing themselves in it is going to outperform eventually even a technician that's been doing it way longer.
Just look at the estimate game. I mean, just the estimate things that Paul Corden's come out with, you, myself, and how much more money techs are calling me, telling me they're making because of those things that are out there. I mean, that makes a huge difference in your bottom line, into your family, feeding your family, making more money, enjoying life, being able to do all those things.
Let me tell you guys where the next phase of this thing is going to go. We're rolling with the tools. We're rolling with the estimating, like you just said, Daniel. The education's there. The next phase of this industry to take us from a little niche or a niche or whatever, is basically learning how to advertise your company on a bigger and better scale. So once technicians out there begin catching on how to take their companies and put them in front of people just relentlessly and advertise themselves, and they begin to educate themselves in that, we're going to go from what is now a niche into something that's going to be widespread. And I mean, a lot of people are scared of that. They're scared. Yeah. They're like, oh my God, no, everybody's going to be advertising. People are going to, no. Here's the thing. If you walked up to people, if I walked up to my mall right now and I said, hey, everybody, who knows what paintless dent removal is? I guarantee you out of 100 people, 10 people would stand up. If that.
Well, that's pretty good.
And the difference is next year, if we get 20 people.
Right. And so on and so on. But what if we could take that, Daniel, look at our world and look at it like, who knows about plumbers, right? Who knows about an auto body shop, how to get their car painted? Everybody knows that, right? Everybody knows about a detailer. Now, wouldn't it be great if everybody knew about a dent technician?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's our mission.
Now, David, do they still issue the Ford tool?
No,
Okay.
no.
Never mind.
Bastards.
It only as of recent has it disappeared too. It was still issued for quite some time, but we've had the Blem for, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 years. The Blem ratchet handle, which kind of replaced that for a lot of guys, especially myself. I mean, somebody like me, I stopped using that Ford tool the minute I had the Blem handle, because the minute I realized I could move the handle to be in the most comfortable position rather than having my wrist cocked one angle or another and, forcing it to maneuver in ways that it shouldn't. That was done for me. I didn't have any need for that anymore. And everybody wanted it for the soft tip or to be able to put the gummy puffer on it. Just tape that thing.
Yeah.
Somebody needs
Vince, tell listeners what a Ford tool is, please.
A Ford tool was a standard issue tool up until recently. Thank you, David. That we all were issued, and basically it was a 90-degree slow J, and it got to probably 90% of door dents that weren't in a brace, and that's all I used. That's all I used until probably the Ultra double bend came out with the interchangeable tips, and that for me that replaced the Ford tool. But I still have it. And I do pull it out every once in a while for nostalgia.
Hey, something David actually said there I want to touch on real quick. He said gummy puffer. And I'll be honest with you guys, I have never seen this elusive gummy puffer. But do you guys have one, or can you explain to our audience? I picture it being this like gooey thing that goes on the end of your tool.
No. Well, it was a plug that we would steal from Mercedes, older Mercedes. It was a plug that they used throughout the engine compartment, mainly on I think it was like the windshield washer fluid reservoir. And it was just a soft plug, and we would burn through them all the time because it was so soft. But they figure a
upside down, or figure a mushroom cap with a rib around the end of it and a hole on the underside of it. So, you're starting to open up a condom. You've got the first inch rolled out. There you go.
Yeah.
Isn't that what Edgy Tool is making?
Yes. Edgy Tool has a really soft gummy puffer that resembles what.
Okay, so if you want a gummy puffer, go to Edgy Tools. It's the orange one.
The one
Green.
I had is green.
Green one. Okay,
and he sent me a black one too that I lost in a car today while using it.
Wait. Did you say you have one?
I have one from Dave Streen.
Okay, Dave Streen. When you listen to this, you better call me tomorrow.
Do them things have longevity though? Do they last? Do the one Dave's they last long? Vince?
The one I got from Dave Streen, the green one is a lot more stiff and hard. There I go with my.
That's what she said.
Than the black ones, but the black ones, I was working on an old MR2 today, and it was a really soft dent. So I'm like, I'm going to pull out Dave Streen's gummy puffer and throw it on there and see what happens. And it worked good until it's not as tight as the old gummy puffers that were Mercedes. So it popped off my tool and down into the quarter panel, into the abyss.
I'm sure you fished that out, right?
Nope.
Hey, David, what you've been in Dent Wizard for obviously 20 years, as you mentioned. What's the biggest changes then and compared to now? And it could be tools or the way you guys operate. You guys kind of more modern? You guys more open to new things, or how's the management there? I mean, as far as tools, are they issued? They tell you buy your own tools. Do they have any? Are they just make you use their tools? How's that work now?
Wow, it's pretty broad range there, Mike.
I know.
All right, so changes its corporate world. So obviously changes have happened. We've had a few different owners. That's no secret. We are currently owned by Gridiron, which is out of Connecticut, no less. Changes through management have gotten better. I think the dialogue is more open. They respect our opinions a lot more as a technician. We've made, when I say we, I mean, there's a group of us that have not shied away from telling them the things that we think need to be adjusted, changed, whatever. And they've accepted that. And it's been fantastic to have that open relationship with them. Likewise, I mean, they tell us point blank when they can't do something and why, and you have to understand it, respect it. And it is a business at the end of the day, and they need to show their numbers. So skipping on to the tool department has been drastically changed. It's been idle forever. And that's kind of what got this sparked. You know, I mean, we started buying tools. It started with the Illumident light. I mean, I got the Illumident light, showed it to a bunch of guys. They wanted the Illumident light. Then we had our first meeting. We brought it with us. We said, this is like the game changer. Why are we using this camper light with a cigarette lighter still when we could plug a wall battery into this thing and run around a car? Let's save time. Let's work smarter, not harder. So, and that's just been the evolution. But
do you have Dent Wizard ears?
Dent Wizard what?
Do you have Dent Wizard's ear? Do they listen to you specifically?
I hate to say, you know, that I got their ear, but I like to think that they're open to anybody's opinion. I'm pretty vocal, hence why you guys brought me on here, I guess. But yeah, I've never had a problem stepping up and saying, hey, I think this is something we should be doing. You know, I mean, kind of got started because I sat there and I said, we used to be the leader in paintless dent repair. And they said, well, what do you mean used to be? I said, we're not that anymore. You know, we're behind the times. We need to step up. We need to get, you know, more advanced. The repairs that we're fixing now are not the repairs that we were trained to fix 15, 20 years ago. So it's gotten bigger and
yeah.
You know, the damage is more intense. We have aluminum to deal with. We have high strength steel to deal with. The tooling has changed in order to deal with that metal changing or the aluminum changing. You know, I mean, everybody's sharp tip tools. You guys have said this on podcasts many a times. It's like, you know, sharp tip tools are a necessity now. And when I first saw a circus rod, I was like, Jesus Christ, we're going to do that, push it through the panel.
Yeah.
Because your thought process of what it will do and what it actually does using it normally are two totally different things. And then once you use it, you're like, you can't have this back. I need this.
Yeah. Well, and that's
once you learn how to use it correctly.
Yeah. Back in 95, when we were in training is when they took away the sharp tip hockey sticks from all of us. We were issued them. And within a week, they went and like, all right, open up the toolboxes. And they systematically removed every single sharp hockey stick, which actually it resembles a lot like the blade tips that Stanliner produces. You know how they're super sharp.
Yeah,
they took all away from us. I still have one. With a blade tip. I'll have to show it to you guys one of these days.
You know, David, I think as an outsider, that's the reason why I brought you on, is because as an outsider, I felt you were one of the most vocal, down to earth, approachable, but you know, you had a voice for Dent Wizard. And when you guys came out in full force a couple years ago, and then now, I really felt like Dent Wizard was making a turn for the better. That's just my outside opinion. That's what I was looking at. And you guys in general really were, and I don't want to say we're segregated, but I mean, a little bit, it felt like it at first in the early days, you know, oh, Dent Wizard is their company and the outside private retail techs and wholesale techs were their guys, you know what I mean? But I think it was such a great thing that we all came together and met each other face to face at Mobile Tech Expo, which is one of the best things that I think why David or Daniel mentioned is that you've got to go.
So David, now correct me if I'm wrong here, like years ago, I'd say probably, gosh, I want to say this is back in maybe 2003, 2004. Dent Wizard had almost like a huge turnaround with all of the technicians that were working for them. In fact, some of the guys that I knew that, you know, that I came up around, basically all the good guys left. And in a sense, and this was just here in the Ohio area, I was in the car dealership market, so now I didn't have any friends that were working for Dent Wizard. They left. They become hell technicians. They opened up their own routes, and I literally attacked every Dent Wizard account because it was easy target. I mean, they were retraining. There was new people coming in, And I literally attacked, and I'm not kidding you, within probably a 3-month period, I ended up landing somewhere like 60 some odd Dent Wizard accounts. Like 60 some odd. I literally followed the Dent Wizard guy around and just exploded into his dealer and just said, tell me what he's not fixing. I'll pull it around back and have it done in 15 minutes. And it didn't take long. There was a few that were real loyal, but other ones I just buried through. Now I've noticed a change here. I don't do car dealers anymore, but like, as you mentioned earlier, Kyle is a local guy around here, and he's an awesome dude. Dent Wizard's retaining him. They've got you. They've been able to retain you. People like Derek Reed, they're retaining them. So I'm seeing a big shift from like 2002, 2003, 2004.
I would say the big shift really is you. I think that the years you're really exploiting there were the Mannheim years. Mannheim, Cox, when they came in, yeah, there's a lot of guys that got pushed to the side. It was almost like they were trying to eliminate the higher tiered guys.
Me.
Well, you were just ugly, so.
That too. I had a big nose.
Just kidding, Vince. It was the nose thing. I heard about the nose. So it really, I mean, it was tough around here. It was tough everywhere. A lot of guys just didn't want to deal with it. Management was having a hard time. To me, those are the years you're talking about. And like I said, a lot of guys either left and came back, or they stuck it out. They were 1 foot off the door and just kind of held on. Then we had our next set of buyers, and it really kind of turned things around a little bit. You're like, all right, I know these guys. These are the guys that were shoved out by Cox. Now they're back. Let's see what we can do.
So what do you notice different?
Well, hold on real quick. It's a good thing that they hold on, Daniel. Oh, I don't want to leave there. It's a good thing that you guys did that, because I'm telling you, back in them years, David, if you can recap back then, it was literally, if you were somebody like me, it was blood in the water. Like, you literally seen Dent Wizard was like, if you were a shark and you're a businessman and you're trying to attack and do your thing at that day and in that time, man, it was freaking blood in the water. I smelled it. A bunch of other guys smelled it. And I mean, we attacked like a group of sharks.
Oh, I'm sure. We still hear about it. You still go on Dentex only, and you'd still see it from the ex-Dent Wizard guys that were, it's still there. I laugh because we go to MTE and we call it, what is it, the 6 degrees of Dent Wizard or something like that. It's you either work for them, used to work for them, or are trained by somebody that worked for them. Now there's like 3 of you left.
Right. And now, David, the crazy thing is that like any other corporation out there, they finally figured out that by losing the employees, by whatever they were doing, underpaying them, cutting their pay, stuff like that, basically was about ready to kill their entire business model, man. And if Dent Wizard's out there listening, your retention strategy and your business lifeblood is actually in the technician doing the work. And what kills a business is when you get all these guys sitting up in a boardroom, sitting there in their suits, making decisions about things that are happening on the field, when it actually takes a qualified, skilled technician to do the work. Sounds like they learned their lesson and they found a way to retain great guys like you.
That's kind of where I go back to our earlier question, where it was, what's changed in the corporate world, and they have definitely opened up their eyes and ears to the things that we're talking about, the things that we're looking for, and ways to, I don't ever want them or anybody else to think that we're just trying to do things for us, because if we succeed, they succeed. If we make more money, they make more money. So I think all that's kind of, we're not just in it. I'm not in it for Dave White. I'm not in it. Derek Reed's not in it for Derek Reed. Kyle's not in it for Kyle. Billy Martin won the 2017 Dent Olympics. His first thought was, the trophy needs to go to corporate. Everybody needs to see it. It's a team effort. I work for them. That's the mentality on, the guys that have been around for a while.
Yeah.
And I think corporate sees that, and it's not just me yelling and screaming and I want it my way.
Right.
I think, they really do see that we're trying to make changes for the better, because the changes that are going to be made aren't helping me. They're helping the next guy down the road.
So can I ask you, who's building the culture? Is it the technicians, like all of you guys, or is it corporate building the culture is it a culture build from the top down, or a culture shift from the bottom up? Because what you're telling me there is that Dent Wizard now has a culture. You got people that are dedicated to the brand. Now, where's that coming from? Is it coming from the bottom up or the top down?
I'm going to say it came both directions. Without going into too much, I mean, Dent Wizard tried to make a Facebook style page. And it wasn't Facebook. It was just something they did on their own. And it wasn't user friendly. And when anything's built by IT guys and guys sitting behind a desk with a PC in front of them, everything's easier than a guy running around the streets with a phone in their hand trying to log in from a phone. They tried hard. It didn't work. It was visualized to do something to bring everybody together.
Yeah.
Garrett, in turn, saw what it should have been, created, a group on Facebook for just PDR technicians. And we all started to get in there. And I mean, literally it was his mission to have as many people as he could get in. He wanted every Dent tech in there. You're not going to get every Dent tech. Let's get as many as we can. So I was like number 3 or number 4 that he brought in there. And from there, we just let it loose. And I think in the first year we had over 100, just little by little, just kept grabbing guys and going, hey, you got to get online. The more we put it out there, the more guys got in there. And then we got to a certain point where you go, we're throwing shit against the wall and there's nobody here to hear it. So then we started bringing in team managers and trusted. Hey, look, this is a place for technicians to come and release their tensions, vent, showcase their work, ask for assistance, any R&I tips. You get a rookie out there. I mean, how many times, Vince could probably relate to this. You get a new guy and he goes out into a remote area and he's got no senior tech help around him. Back in the day, dude, you got a pager, a list, a phone that was plugged into your car on the footwell, and good luck. There was nobody there to help you. Your next closest guy might be 2 hours away. Yeah. So that you're kind of left to learn and figure it out, which is not a horrible thing. But this day and age, with so many technicians out there that are so seasoned, you can't leave a guy out there to survive because he's not gonna. And he's gonna be frustrated and he's gonna quit. And that's it's corporate money. That's anybody's money down the drain. And another guy walking, and another guy you got to find to hire for, send back out the training, start the process over again. With the Facebook group, it really gave guys the opportunity to ask for help, get assistance, and not feel alone. You actually had a team around you.
I hate to say it, dude, but that sounds like a bottom-up groundswell, dude.
Well,
you guys
like
pulled the management in, stuff like that. That's awesome, though, dude. That just shows the power of social media. I mean, it creates cultures and companies, man. Insane.
It definitely did that, and we brought the right guys in and they took advantage of it and they saw what was happening. They saw what we were trying to do. And a couple of them were ex-techs and they were just like, yeah, you guys are on the right path and we need to do this, and one of the statements that was made was kind of comical. He goes, I got a hammer. It's in the garage. It was my grandfather's. Does it still put a nail in? Sure. But are there newer ones and better ones out on the market? Absolutely. Let's start looking at them.
The best thing Dent Wizard honestly could do is get as many Dent techs to MTE as possible. I mean, that would strengthen their company so much and get respect from everybody else if they did that.
I would say last year was a pretty solid showing with DW shirts rolling around that I heard many comments, and even on the DTO page where guys were like, saw big corporate at MTE. I mean, we all knew what they were talking about. And there was a lot of notice there. And that's good because we're not trying to hide. We're just trying to participate, and as many of you guys that are trying to grow the business, the Bryce Kellys, the Paul Cordon, with the price sheets and the tactical price sheets, we've borrowed some of that. I mean, we've gotten that from Paul Cordon and we have implemented it in certain areas, and we're trying to push that forward so that we are all trying to play that level field.
Yeah.
We don't want to be, can't all be the most expensive guy. but nobody wants to be the cheap guy. Nobody wants to work for dirt cheap. Now, we all understand corporate business, and they want to make corporate deals, and that's just going to be the nature of the business. That's the way it is. So, I
don't think you have to. Yeah, I don't think you have to explain anything for Dent Wizard. I personally, David, I think as an outsider, I think you guys are definitely trying to make a change or make an effort. And I think the biggest word you just said was participate, and I think that's awesome. So yeah, and we see that.
I'm curious to see how many guys will be there this year since the show got moved from Friday to Saturday to Saturday to Sunday. So now you got guys who don't have to worry about missing out on work.
Yeah.
Oh, it got moved? I didn't even know about that. So
I didn't know either.
You didn't get the 500 emails they send?
No.
I don't pay attention to them.
I think
what assumed. Is it going to still be in Orlando?
Yeah. Royale.
Yeah. It's the same place. Or it's back at the Royale, but they're adding Sunday to it. So it's more of a weekend thing than a weekday thing. But let's talk about tools. I want to know a little bit more about the tools that Dent Wizard is issuing these days.
Just give us a brief description of the set before we go on to our tech tips.
The ones you can talk about.
If I'm a new tech, what do I get?
You're getting pretty much everything Vince and I got 20 years ago. How's that?
Do you still get the crown slapper?
The master.
I don't think they get that anymore.
How about a craftsman hammer?
I still have 2 of those. Yeah, you still get the craftsman hammer. I mean, most everything's still the same. We got a couple of ratchet handle tools put in there. The tools are not quite made from the same company. We're outsourced a little bit more. Craftsman hammer is a must. The light's been obviously upgraded to an unlimited. Small things, just nothing crazy. When they asked us about it, when you are a new tech, the training that you get, the tools that you get, they are, I hate to use the word adequate, but for your ability, I think you're fine. I think that we discussed it and we said there's really not a whole lot I would change as entry-level tools. But as you advance, and we have the levels of advancement that most guys know, there's senior tech, master, 4-star, 5-star. Now they've got this world-class thing for us old guys to make us feel good. As you go through those classes, we just said those are the classes that need to be adjusted to learn how to do some of this other stuff, sharp tip tools, more glue pulling. Those were the kind of things that were that have been changed. That's where we want those changes.
So they are teaching glue pulling now.
They have been for a while. We just expressed that it needed to be, that was one of our thoughts is, glue pulling definitely takes a higher role now than it ever did.
Yeah.
More guys, I glue pull more stuff. I glue pull stuff more now than ever. And I keep a glue gun hot in my van all the time so that I can come up on something. I mean, you get a $50 dent. I don't want to tool that. I'm going to put a puck in that. I'm going to pull it out, get it down to a dime size dent, and then finish it off with a tool.
Right.
It's efficiency.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
That's good. And do they let you use, say you wanted a tool, do they reimburse you for it, or is that just something that you have to pay for yourself?
Still something you pay for yourself. Outside of the standard issue stuff, you're still buying your own stuff.
Yeah. Well, good.
All
and
right,
at
guys.
least you get a good view on that because you actually go to MTE and you see what's new out there and what will work for you.
Nice. But you guys ready to move on
to Tool Time podcast?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, guys, you ready to move on to our tech tips?
Let's do it.
As you can tell, John.
Eggs.
As you can tell, John's like, he's gonna wrap it up. You're on East Coast time too, David. Right? So it's about 9, almost 10 o'clock, right?
Right.
Yeah, kind of early.
Well, I told him we were kind of jumbling around getting this show set. Mike had to leave a location, and so we're doing this one a little bit late. And yeah.
All right.
Past my bedtime.
Stop sucking
Past
eggs.
my
Time for
bedtime.
PDR tech tips.
Stop sucking eggs.
You guys stop saying that because I can just dub it in.
Everybody likes it when we say it, Mike.
Okay. All right. Hey,
who's up?
I'll go up. I'm going to probably steal this from Daniel. Daniel might have mentioned this before, but I've got, if you got a hammer that you're using, or if you've got some kind of, rod, what I like to do is I definitely like to take the big rubber ball and put it on the end, screw it on the end. It just makes a huge, huge difference as far as the balance and in your palm of your hand. I also put it on one of the Ultra, the barrel handle that pop on and off quick release handles. You can screw that on the back end, and it just makes it way more comfortable. If you have a paddle, just take I wouldn't recommend tapping the back end and putting a screw in. I would just actually someone told me about this and I forgot who it is, but get a end, like a chair. What's that chair? Rubber chair cap? What is it? What do you call those guys? What is that?
Chair tip.
Yeah, chair tip, and put it on the end of your paddle, and it really makes a good difference. It's really good. So if you want some more comfortability, use those couple tips right there. You'll like it.
Good, real good.
Awesome.
Who's next? Vinny, you up?
Come on, Daniel.
Hello.
Okay, my tech tip is glue pulling. When you put your tab on there, what I do is a lot of guys say only use a little bit of glue. I tend to put a lot of glue on my tab, but what I do is I press down hard. I want it to ooze out all the way around the glue tab, and that has a double purpose. One, when I want to release the tab, I can put the alcohol on there and I can roll back that edge and get that alcohol to run down so I can pull that tab off. But what I do is I set the tab on there, I press it down hard, I get that ooze all the way around, I give it a second to cool down, and then I run my finger around the whole edge, and it smooths out the whole adhesion so it really sticks to the tab or to the car really well. And that's my little tech tip is run your finger around it right after it cools enough where it's not going to burn your finger. And it kind of seals it so no air gets behind it and gives you a little bit better pull.
Ah, cool.
Awesome. Thank you, Daniel.
All right, so I will roll with my tech tip. All right, so this is one, any of you guys who are working on a front fender, I'm going to say like a BMW or perhaps a Mercedes-Benz, one that's a fender, plastic front fender liner in there that's really, really tight. I mean, one of them ones that's so ridiculously tight, yeah, that you're worried about bending the edge while you're getting this plastic out, right? I'm telling you guys, if you guys have a heat gun on hand, get in there, throw that heat gun up under that panel, get that whole area nice and heated. It will soften the plastic to the point where you actually will be able to push it and manipulate it and mold it to get it over that lip.
Awesome. Dude, I wish I would have known that tech tip the other day. I hate those Ford freaking fender liners, dude, inside. Those F-150s suck.
Yeah. You got to get it nice and hot, Mike. You run that heat liner back and forth, get that sucker hot, and that plastic will become soft and moldable.
Yeah. The good tech tip there.
My tech tip is I'm going to bring it back to Dent Wizard days. Not very often, but it does happen where I have to drill a hole. Like today I had an X5 that had a dent. What was that, David? Are you laughing?
Yeah, nice that he said, we're all leaving.
Right. So we back in the day we
drill holes, they punched holes.
Yeah, why'd you have to bring it back to the Dent Wizard days when you talk about drilling holes?
Well, we were issued a punch to make the holes bigger, but I also was issued a Blair tip hole punch or hole cutter rather than a unibit. And this comes in handy when you're working on the front of a door where you have a gap that's really tight. And if you use a unibit, you're going to go right through the skin of the door. So what you want to do is just to put a little tap, make a little pilot hole or a little, center punch make a little mark there. And using the Blair tip, the actual tip of the center is spring loaded. So it will back out as you're drilling the hole. And this is for tight areas where you can't use a unibit, but you have to drill a hole. So essentially you're going to get your hole made and you don't have to run the risk of going through the outer skin of the car.
Good one.
Nice.
Yeah, good job.
Blair tips are just essential.
Blair tip. Exactly. We almost had David's camera there.
Yeah, it looked like he was plugging something in.
All right, David, do you got a tech tip for us?
Yeah, give us a tech tip, David.
All right.
And not an eyeliner tip, because you have beautiful blue eyes with your dark eyelashes. It looks like you have eyeliner on.
Look at Daniel. I'm still trying to figure out why Daniel's got a dark mustache and gray chin hair, and just admiring the beauty. All right.
Yeah.
Vince has got everybody hitting the pole.
I'm still trying to figure out why Mike Leo says John Hiley under him, but Vince, what are you doing over there, man?
Yeah, we do it. I'm always doing show notes.
I'm a bottom guy.
You're a bottom guy.
All right, David, shoot us a tip.
I had two quick ones. One is if you're using the metal window guard, I tape the edges on it, especially the top edge, so that when you're pulling it out, you don't hit the top of the door frame. Because the last thing you want to do is scratch a customer's car.
What are you taping?
It's never a good sign when you. I used to tape it with Tessa tape, but I have this industrial vinyl tape that's like probably like 3 inches wide that a friend of mine gave to me, and I use that to wrap it. I've got probably two pieces on every corner, and then the whole top.
Nice.
So there's that, and then the other one was just something I try to do at the end of every day, but definitely every week is go through my vehicle, because I am a route guy, and make sure everything's in its place. Because if you're not working neat, you leave a job and then you go to the next job and you go, hey, where's that tool? The way mine's set up, I can take a quick scan and go, everything's in its place. Everything's where it's supposed to be. I can roll.
Yeah, and come Monday, you're ready to go. Working smarter, not harder.
Yep.
That's the whole purpose of my Magnatech mat. To work smarter, not harder, and have your tools on hand, which is currently on sale.
That brings us up to
I didn't see that demo show up.
What?
I didn't see my demo show up yet.
Oh, not yet. It's in the mail. It'll be in the mail in 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yeah, tell us a little bit more about that, Vince.
Well, just briefly, we opened up pre-sale this week. By the time you guys hear this, it'll be over. But if you hit me up privately, I might be able to help you out. It is for sale at Magnatech. I'm sorry?
We can get one now?
No, you can't. They will ship in 2 weeks from today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, John had to cut out, guys, so we will say bye for him. So, but Vince, here's the thing real quick that everybody was asking. Well, it's magnetic, so they automatically think that, it could get debris or get metal flakes on it. I'm going to tell you right now, guys, it does not do that. You have a higher chance, as I mentioned on one of the forums, of getting debris on a microfiber towel and scratching the car than you do with this Magnatech mat. It's not what you think and assume. It's like, picture this, like you using sharp tools and you think that you're going to damage the panel. It's not. It's going to help you. So
you're so right there, Mike. I mean, people need to get their hands on it to figure it out that it won't do that. It doesn't do that. When you grab the mat, you swipe it on the back of your hand and you'll find it's clean every time.
Yeah. And that's a funny thing. You wouldn't take a microfiber towel and throw it on the ground. So you don't throw this mat on the ground. When I store it, I roll it up, I put it in my tool chest or it's sitting on my tool cart. So I've yet to have any.
You can easily grab it and you can swipe your hand over the whole thing in one swipe and just to double check yourself. But every time I've done that, there's nothing sticking to it.
I know.
There's nothing on it.
It's a common sense thing. You do common sense. You use a suction cup. Before you put a towel on, you make sure it's clean. Just use your common sense, guys. I mean, it's not as dangerous as you would think. So it's not dangerous at all. But anyways, this podcast is a long way going through. David, I just want to say thanks a lot for coming on, man. It's really
thanks, David, for getting on. Yes, absolutely.
Thanks for having
me. We'll have you
on
again, David.
Appreciate it. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. Well, we want to see some more controversy online, David. We need to see more of you speaking your mind. That's what we really, really enjoy.
Yeah. Hey, David. Hey, listen. Have a good night, man.
Thanks, guys. You too.
All right. Take care, guys.
Concludes our podcast for today with the legendary David White from Dent Wizard. And we'd like to thank everyone for tuning in, and make sure you get on iTunes and give us a like and leave a comment, and we'll check it out. And with that,
and don't forget to level up your tools
and join the revolution.
Later on, guys. Have a good one.